hello. I'm back. Yeah. I didn't do anything special on Saturday, like was originally planned. I was gonna do Roblox, but then my girlfriend had errands for the day, and so she got back, like, a lot later than both of us expected. And at that point, it was either, like, I don't know, if we were going to stream Roblox, it would have been, like, 1 to 2 hours, which probably would have been acceptable, but then we wouldn't have had any time to do anything else after the stream. So, no, instead we just hung out together and didn't stream. So, that's what happened to the Saturday stream. And, I was supposed to, during the weekend, try and, like, fix my sleep schedule a bit so that I start, starting these streams a little bit earlier. But, the exact opposite happened, unfortunately. No one's fault but my own. Playing too much gaming, gaming way too hard into the evenings. No. It's, I mean, a little bit of that, but mostly I was working on Bounty Below a little bit later than I probably should have. Although I did do a little bit of Path of Exile as well. I've been trying to get a character to maybe stream some hardcore solo self-found if I get to mapping with it. But, like, I suck at the game. And I suck at making characters. So it's been a little bit of a struggle. Like, I talked about how I had, like, a couple of characters that I had already tried, but, like, one died. I said I remembered when they died last time I mentioned it, but I forget now. I think one of them died in, like, Act 3, very pathetically, and the other died in Act 6. In another very pathetic way. But, yeah, I tried to, like, I made a different character that wasn't that same build, because I was getting bored of doing the same build over and over again, especially since it's, like, nearly identical to my softcore build, so I was, like, pretty done with that build. Having already played way too many hours of it, and going through the same acts over and over again with it, I was like, alright, maybe I should try something different. So I did, like, the worst fucking build ever. It was, like, full physical to fire conversion, and it was supposed to be, like, a Blade Fall, Blade Blast build, but, like, it wasn't a solo self-found viable build, basically. Like, unless I already had, like, a lot of items ready to go for that character, just, like, trying to build it from the ground up. Like, it's not a very good League start character, is what I'm trying to say. And my hardcore solo self-found stash is basically at the level of League start, given I only had a character that made it to Act 6 and Act 3. Wasn't really picking up a lot of items to keep at that point. So, yeah, don't play that build. That build was really bad. Like, I don't know, it's the kind of build that might be fun if you actually get it off the ground, something like a fucking Flame Dash Totem build. Like, very memey. But, maybe you could do something with it. Like, it just doesn't even make sense to go full fire conversion. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea. Because, like, it's not like you're gonna get any potent ignites out of it. So you're really just going for fire as, like, another way to scale your damage. But, like, I don't know, man. Not very efficient. Not very good at all. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe you could do something interesting with Blade Blast. Like, you're not gonna get any... Ooh, I forgot to walk. You're not gonna get any good ignites out of Blade Fall, but you might get some juicy ignites off of Blade Blast. But, like I said, build just never took off. I got it to Act 4, and, like, it didn't die. I just fucking deleted it, because I was like, this is not a good build right now. Like, because I didn't have the requirements to, like, really start using Blade Blast. It would have taken a while for the build to get there. especially in like a safe, hardcore manner. So, yeah, I was just like, I don't know, man. Like, the build isn't dead yet, but it's probably going to die pretty soon, because I'm just, like, using... I think I was using Earthquake. Or maybe... No, I think I switched to Tectonic Slam, since I was getting endurance charges, so... It did synergize slightly. But, like, I had no... Hate that. I had no, like, melee scaling, I had no physical scaling outside of, like, the support gems I was using. So it was basically a complete train wreck. And likely would have died very quickly. If not before Act 6, definitely in Act 6. I can't imagine that build would have gone too much farther after that. But, yeah, I made a new build that is slightly more viable. And I got it to Act 4. This time it's, like, actually decent in Act 4. I don't have to take, like, 3 or 4 slams to kill basic white enemies. It's nice. It's a, like, just a really, really simple, like, heavy stacking, bleed, lacerate gladiator build with, like, you know, eventually it's going to be, like, super blocky. I didn't go for the Ascendancy node that gives increased max block, because I would have rather had the, you know, the Explodey Ascendancy node that's kind of required if you're going to do, like, a bleed build like that, because, like, bleed is pretty great for single target, but it is pretty shit for clearing. Just because, like, once you stack up your max of 8 bleeds, assuming you have the, what is it, Crimson Blood or something? Whatever, Crimson Dance? Whatever that keystone is, that lets you stack 8 bleeds. Like, that can shred with enough, like, bleed multi-damage over time multi. That does great single target, but, like, you don't really want to stack unless you have, like, ridiculous attack speed. I mean, I have a decent amount of attack speed on the build, but, yeah, you don't want to... You would like things to be dead before you get all 8 bleed stacks on them, basically. And so, having things explode and deal a decent amount of damage to the rest of the pack really speeds that up for clearing. It's a near necessity. I mean, I could get something like, you know, Explodey chest piece, obviously, and I mean, I think there's other ways of Explodey that I am not familiar with. Like, I think that there's an Explodey, one of the Conqueror of the Atlas modifiers, but I don't know what that's on. I mean, that might be the chest one. I really haven't, I don't do that much, late game Path of Exile, so I'm sorry for not knowing all of the sources of Explode. My bad. But yeah, it'll work. It'll get there. Like, it's a very defensive build, too. So, I mean, the one thing I'm a little bit worried about is recovery at the moment. Because, like, more or less all of my recovery, because I don't go into Leech. You can go into Leech, starting as Duelist, obviously. There's, like, a lot of nodes around that area for Life Leech. But, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't see Leech as really that viable unless you're going for the other Ascendancy that's name I forget. It's not Champion. It's not Gladiator. It's whatever the other one is. But, yeah, I didn't go for Leech. I have, like, a little bit of regen, just because you kind of accidentally pick up regen the way that the pathing for the build works. But the regen is not enough sustained for me. So, yeah, pretty much all of my sustain outside of the regen is from my shield, which requires the life gain on block. But I think it'll be fine. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, just having, like, if I get there, 75% attack block and spell block should mean that I don't need that much sustain. But I genuinely, am I the only one? Like, I've never looked up the exact mechanics of block. I don't know what block recovery is. Does that make me the biggest dumbass in the world? Probably. I've just kind of, like, through context clues, I just assume that the way it works is there's, like, maybe a 1 second cooldown in between blocks by default. If it's bigger than 1 second, then that's, like, actually worth investing into, because there are, like, on the passive tree, there's, like, various nodes that'll give you, block recovery, or I forget what the exact stat is called, but block stun recovery? No, stun recovery is different. I forget, but, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't look into block recovery. Because if I'm having to wait, like, 3 seconds in between blocks, then, it makes 75% block chance way less meaningful. Because, like, Path of Exile, there's very, very few sources of, like, really massive hits. I mean, there are, like, a lot of bosses have them, but, like, I don't know, typically in Path of Exile, there are definitely rips that happen to bosses, but I feel like most rips are just, like, you know, fucking mapping and not expecting a pack to do 8,000 damage per hit when it's doing, like, 800 hits per second. Because, especially, like, what is it? Is it the Hunter? I forget the names of all the Conquerors, but, like, the Poison Snake-themed one. Like, those packs of snakes that, like, barrage a shit ton of chaos damage can actually shred you if the map mods are pretty bad. So, yeah, anyways, Path of Exile, right? Guy who knows very little about Path of Exile late game tries to fit in. It's my entire life story. I feel like I had some things queued up to talk about, but now that I think back at them, they're not that interesting. Instead, I'll just talk about Path of Exile, which is everyone's favorite topic. You know what? Here's something worth talking about. So I had, like, leftover Chinese food for dinner tonight. Am I crazy? So first off, I don't really like, I don't know, maybe this is sacrilegious to say, I don't really like Chinese takeout food. I mean, there's not too much Chinese food that I actually really enjoy. Like, there's a few dishes, but I don't know, I usually, and everyone's gonna cringe when I say this, I usually just get, like, sweet and sour chicken. This is, like, the widest confession I've ever let out on stream. But yeah, I usually, like, a little baby, I get sweet and sour chicken. But that's, like, my favorite thing out of all Chinese food I've had, and I've had a few. Like, my biggest problem is that, like, a lot of the chicken dishes, and maybe it's just the Chinese places near me, right? But, like, I've gone to a lot of different Chinese places, and all of them seem to have this problem where a lot of the chicken dishes will be, like, really, really, like, gristly. Like, you'll just bite into it and get, like, hard fat, like, not even really rendered fat. It's just, like, hard-ass fat that you have to chew through, which is not my favorite experience. And I usually get the chicken dishes, which, I don't know, maybe I should be going for, like, pork or beef, but I just feel like chicken should be the easiest. Maybe it's not. I mean, working with chicken myself, like, I also fucking hate preparing chicken. Because while it seems like it should be the easiest, it's hard to like, clean a chicken. Like, I hate dealing with meat in general. Like, anything that's not ground meat, I just fucking hate it, man. It's such a pain in the ass to, like, pick apart, like, a full chicken thigh, or, like, just a full chicken breast, even, like, with bone in and everything. I just hate it. Especially, like, turkey, too, for Thanksgiving and stuff. Obviously, tradition to, like, carve your own turkey and stuff. I hate it, man. I just don't know how to make, like, clean cuts and You know, whenever people look at me doing it, they're like, oh my god, you're cutting so much meat away, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I just... There's bone here, also! I don't know how to cleanly cut around bone. It's my own problem. I'm not very good at it. But, at least when I prepare chicken, I never bite into bone, and I never bite into huge wedges of fat. Because I'm picky. Probably cut it a little bit too cleanly. A little bit too lightly, maybe. Like, I probably get rid of some flavor by cutting into the meat as much as I do, but I don't know. Like, I've only dealt with chicken thigh once, and it was like a disaster anyways. Because I was trying to make like a very simple curry dish. Like, I love Penang curry. I was trying to make Penang curry, which should be, in theory, very simple. And, like, you know, I followed a recipe exactly. But it just turned out like complete shit. Like, I made sure to do everything the recipe told me to. Like, I made sure that I cooked, like, the meat in the curry mixture for like a decent amount of time before throwing in like the coconut milk and everything else. But when it was done, the meat was just like entirely flavorless. And I seasoned it beforehand too. Like, I seasoned the meat, I cooked it in the curry mix, but just tasted like tofu, basically. Completely flavorless. I don't know, maybe the meat I got was bad or something, but it was just like chicken thigh from the butcher, so I don't know, maybe I just suck at cooking. Which is true, I do suck at cooking. But anyways, back to the topic of Chinese food, because I have something to talk about. Something that has gone untalked about for way too long. But I feel like, so like I said, I've gotten Chinese food from like various Chinese places. I don't really like Chinese chicken fried rice. And this is the crux of what I'm trying to say here. I feel like every single Chinese food place I've ordered from, or gone in person, like, I'm not just going to Chinese places that offer takeout and stuff, I've gone to a handful of, like, I mean, they probably do takeout as well, but, like, you know, local places that are supposed to be good, high-quality Chinese food. And, I don't know, man. It all tastes the same to me. I don't know if my taste buds are broken or something, but, like, whenever I get the same thing at, like, a different Chinese food place, it tastes the exact same. And I'm not talking, like, you know, obviously it's prepared the same way, you would think, because, okay, well, goodbye. Because, you know, there probably is a traditional Chinese way of preparing the dish, that's why it's called Chinese food. But, like, especially chicken fried rice, I'm like, you know, I've gone to a few other, like, other cuisine places, like a Japanese place that's done chicken fried rice. I've gone to a Vietnamese place that did chicken fried rice, even though I don't know, it might be, that might be a, a Vietnamese thing as well, but I've never considered. I don't really know what food is, like, Vietnamese specifically, other than, like, vermicelli bowls. Like, that's the one thing I associate with Vietnamese, but there's probably a lot of other... Like, I had a Vietnamese coworker that I'm sure would tell me off for not knowing what foods are from Vietnam, but anyways. Yeah, what was I saying? I was talking about Chinese food, that's right. Yeah, when you go to, like, other places that aren't, you know, classified as Chinese food, the chicken fried rice tastes, like, entirely different depending on the place you go to. But I feel like every single Chinese food place I've been to, it tastes the exact goddamn same. And I don't really like it either. So maybe it's just, like, the places near me are all, like, importing some, like, pre-made chicken fried rice mixture that they just, like, heat up or something. I don't fucking know. But I mean, I doubt that. I'm not gonna go that deep into the conspiracy theory, but it is weird. It is very strange to me that, you know, like, I'll go to 2 different Japanese places, order chicken fried rice, and it'll taste different depending on the place, and, like, you know, sometimes they'll have peas in it, sometimes they'll have carrots in it, whatever, you know, they mix it up. But every single Chinese food place I go to feels like it's just one homogeneous idea of chicken fried rice. And I mean, maybe it's just the traditional way of making chicken fried rice, and I sound like an asshole right now. But, yeah, I find it a little bit strange. And I tried to Google it, too, before the stream started, to see if, like, there was actually something to this. But the only articles I found were people, like, asking, why does Chinese food chicken fried rice always taste better than when I try and make it at home? And secret is probably MSG. But people have, like, a weird thing with MSG. I don't know why. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's just salt. Like, the way your body handles it is more or less identical to salt. So, not exactly. But anyways, it's just like a mineral. I don't know why people are so weird about it. I mean, I know why people are so weird about MSG. It's because there's, like, a huge fucking craze of bullshit articles written about it. But anyways, yeah. That was, like, the one example I found. People being like, why did Chinese food chicken fried rice always taste better than my chicken fried rice? And the other one I saw was, like, an article that said, like, why you should never order chicken fried rice at a Chinese restaurant. And I was like, oh, is there something to this? Here we go. Am I finally finding the rabbit hole to jump into? Is it because it's like a secret conspiracy that they've actually been importing this from who knows where, and it's just been sitting in the freezer and it's not real Chinese food? But no. The article was just like, you shouldn't order chicken fried rice because it's not healthy for you. And I was like, really? Like, I mean, they got me with the clickbait, you know, so I guess the article did what it was trying to, but, like, what a letdown. When I actually look at what the article was talking about, I was hoping to find some information about Chinese chicken fried rice, but instead I just get someone saying that maybe you shouldn't eat oil-fried carbs. Like, yeah, I getcha. That probably isn't very healthy, thank you. But not exactly what I thought your article would be talking about, given the title of it. Anyways, that's chicken fried rice. I might sound like an insane person, too, because, like, it is purely anecdotal. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just the restaurants I go to or have gone to. I'm sure that there will be plenty of examples of people being like, nah, you're dumb. Like, I go to 2 different Chinese places, and, like, one of them sucks and one of them has great chicken fried rice. I believe it. But, I don't know. In my experience, it's all the goddamn same. To me. I might just have broken taste buds, who knows. Gotta eat that, like, miracle fruit that does weird shit to your taste buds. Although I think that's just for sourness. Right? Is like that one miracle berry that makes sour things sweet. There's like a lot of things like that though. And I mean, it might just be stemmed off of that one fruit and like a lot of other things are just bullshit, but you see a lot of things that are like, eat this one thing and it makes your world of taste buds entirely different. But it's probably all just that one berry. I mean, it's called like the miracle berry or something. Whenever there's something named like that, or something like that gets a lot of traction, it always goes way above and beyond what it actually is. Like, yeah, it probably just makes it so that sour things taste like sweet instead of sour. But you'll find articles that are like, eating this berry daily will change your life. It'll cure cancer. You'll never be sick again. But I feel like that's just that kind of industry, like modern snake oil salesmen, like herbal remedies and that kind of thing, are always looking for the next big thing that they can scam people into buying as a cure-all. Because why wouldn't you, right? If you're in the business of scamming, why wouldn't you? But, yeah, I don't know. Where do I go from here? Chinese food. Done. Finish that topic. You know, the gameplay has been decent today. I have taken a few deaths in the first area recently, but like fairly consistently making it to at least the second area, which was better than I was on Friday. So that's nice. I don't know how long the stream is going to be today. I want to try and get at least a little bit of this in, and at least a little bit of Dyson Sphere in. But probably not too long, considering I started stream at 10. Who knows? Who knows? And I'll still try and get something going for next Saturday also. Like, I'm not just going to forgo Saturday streams as a thing, but they might not be consistent. Because I'd like Saturday to be like at least one other person on stream with me kind of deal. Like, I don't want to say a cooperative thing, because it might not always be cooperative, but yeah, if I could get like at least one dedicated day where I'm doing something with other people. And especially like Saturday would be really easy too, because even if people are working, usually Saturday is a day off. Though not if they were in the line of business that I was in. But yeah, that'd be nice. But because, like, you know, if I am going to make it a play games with other people kind of day, that does mean that I might not always get other people to play with me. which would mean Saturdays. I mean, the whole issue with the races was that the races got really inconsistent, so I wanted to do something that would be a little bit more consistent on Saturdays, and then here I am talking about how, it's probably still going to be inconsistent on Saturdays, but probably more consistent than the blind races were. And like I said, we'll still probably do blind races every now and then. It just depends on how the rest of the boys are feeling. Boys and girl now. We got girl. Although, can I still... Is it okay to use the boys as a gender-neutral term? Probably not. Probably get in trouble for doing something like that. Oh, it's the patriarchy trying to take over, dude. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. You always gotta be careful about that dang old patriarchy. It'll get you when you least expect it. I mean, there's no one in my life that is weird about that kind of thing, but I know on the internet you find a lot of people who are weird about that kind of thing. Like, I did make a genuine mistake when playing Celeste 2 the other day, and I accidentally called Maddie Thorson by the wrong pronoun, but there was at least a reason for that confusion, due to her itch page not being updated. So I just kind of, like, loosely forgot in the moment while I was just trying to talk about changes made to the game that I had seen on the itch page, but I mean, I don't know, I feel like most people would see that mistake and be like, oh, well, at least he recognized the mistake and apologized for it. But some people are the kinds of people that don't let things like that go, and will try and tear me apart. But again, I'm not very... Oh, look at him go. I got rid of both fish. The legend. The ultimate fisherman. I really don't... Oh, what? He came back? I didn't see what happened there. I wasn't paying attention. I just saw the fish, like, pop into existence. Yeah, I don't really have, like, Like, I feel like people who do have a very, oh, you can't say anything in today's day and age, like, cancel culture is so extreme, like, what am I allowed to say? Like, people who talk like that are usually just, like, shitty people in general. Like, I don't know. If you're really that afraid of getting canceled, then, like, you probably are saying some dumb shit. But also, I don't know. I feel like it's just, like, a thing now. Like, even... I don't want to make it political, but, like, I hate how it is political, because it's just, like, I don't know. I don't know why that kind of thing gets lumped into politics, because... I don't know. Maybe this isn't a fun topic of conversation. But, like, I don't know. Basically, like, you can say whatever the fuck you want. Like, I don't know why people make such a big deal out of cancel culture. And, like, if you really are getting canceled for something... I mean, there are issues that, like, yeah, I will say that, you know, some people... And there's parts of, like, cancel culture that are obviously not okay. Like, yeah, even if someone did something shitty, you probably shouldn't be sending them, like, a mountain of death threats daily. But, that's usually not what it's about. It's usually just... And, like, it's usually people who have never been called out for anything, just talking about how, like, they don't like the fact that they could get called out. Not that they ever have, or ever will, because whatever they say is probably fine. But I don't know. It's usually people who just make, like, really edgy jokes. Like, I mean, depending on the level of edginess, like, I don't know, you might get some weird looks, but you're probably not going to get canceled over an edgy joke. If anything, people are just going to be like, wow, this guy... There's not really any substance to his jokes, he's just being edgy to be edgy. But, yeah, I don't know. Depends on the situation. But, yeah, I don't know, there are situations that I've been like, I don't understand why people are so up in arms. Like the Call Me Carson thing, just... I mean, I have to, like, preface it by saying I don't really know the full situation, so maybe I shouldn't be talking about it in the first place, but... At least as the information was displayed to me, people were making a big deal out of it just because of the age difference, which I thought was, like, I don't know, 2 years is not really a weird age difference, even at 19 and 17, like, that seems completely normal to me, but anyways, yeah, very rarely do I see someone getting quote-unquote canceled and have the opinion that it's not deserved. There's, like, a lot of shitty people, but I don't know. Yeah, that's the end of my discussion on that. I think I'm done with that one. It's not even like I don't think it's a particularly spicy topic of conversation, but there are people who will try to be spicy about it, so I try and steer away from any potential spiciness. Not always. Sometimes I'll embrace the spiciness. Oh, cool. Oh, what? The legend! Holy shit! You son of a bitch. You really went out, and then back in, and then out again? I hate you. Alright, I think I need to leave his, like, his area of influence. Because he keeps doing that, like, big jump sometimes, because he was trying to jump at me, I think? Or no, he's just doing it randomly. Alright, so this is the fun part of the stream where we sit and wait. I can't believe I got him to jump out twice on accident. Come on, dude! Like, when he's in the tunnel? Yes! No. When he's in the tunnel, it's pretty likely that... I don't know. It's not likely, it's... I mean, it's honestly, it's pretty likely that he'll just come back out the left side. But it's not super unlikely that he'll come out the right side. And then there's a chance he falls in the other pit. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Alright, and then we win. We win, and we beat the entire thing. It's a blessed run. Not many runs are blessed by the pit fish. I don't know what to call them. I tried to think of a very clever, creative name off the top, and all I got was pit fish. Just a gamer gaming. Lol. Exactly, dude. How's it going, Jen? You haven't really talked since that last dinner. Drake said, "Tell that bitch he a bitch." That does sound like something Drake would say, so I completely believe it. Completely believe it. But it's hard to be offended by someone who I know is actively playing League of Legends right now. It's just like, it makes you impervious from literally any insult. Like, how can you possibly be offended? He just has to get it out, you know? Like, I understand him. I understand his necessity to get those insults out in the real world, because he'll get chat banned if he says anything in league chat. I've been good though. Thanks for asking. You know, I've been more consistent with the streaming, which has felt pretty nice as of recent. But, yeah, outside of that, getting a lot of work done on my game feels great too. So, pretty much everything except my sleep schedule is doing a-okay, but that's normal. I'm used to that at this point. I don't know what is wrong with my dumbass brain that can't keep a consistent sleep schedule. And, like, it's not like GameStop really helped it either. If anything, GameStop made it worse. Like, you would think that having to go into, like, a regularly-ish scheduled job would help with consistent sleeping, but not really. Not really. I think I just have broken brain. I mean, another thing is that I feel like I'm just... I have a tendency to prefer being up later at night, which is not super helpful in a daytime society. I need to move to Alaska. No, that seems probably more problematic than it's worth, though. Like, I don't know. How do things work in Alaska? Like, it's such a foreign concept, living so far north that there isn't a real day-night schedule. And it's actually given me a great idea for the Dyson Sphere program. Oh, fucking Christ, dude. Dying there is painful. Shouldn't I... Doesn't it make sense to put solar panels towards, like, the North or South Pole? Am I, like, just discovering, am I unlocking, like, a region of my brain that's never thought about solar panels before? Like, I know the turnover is, like, worse in both ways. Like, if you put solar panels near a pole, it's still probably something like 50-50 daytime and nighttime. It's just, like, the daytime and nighttime are all, like, clumped together. But I don't know. Maybe I should Google. But then as soon as you start, like, Googling things just to play a game, like, Googling, like, fucking math, like, the the ratio between daytime and nighttime on a tilted angle sphere whose pole of rotation is not in line with the sun. That's like turbo nerd shit that will never help me in any part of my life outside of playing the Dyson Sphere program. It's like when you have to start looking up how traffic works to play City Skyline. Which I always think that City Skyline is really interesting because of that, because, like, the developers to City Skylines were, like, literal fucking, like, they love that shit. I'm not sure if they were majors, like, what would the major even be? But, like, I know that they did, like, a lot of studying and were, like, super proud of their traffic engine for City Skyline. It's, like, something that they have fun with and are passionate about, which is, like, a very niche passion. But, yeah, because of that, like, the late game of City Skyline is basically, like, how to do traffic 101. Want to become famous? Let's go, dude. This is my chance. Alright, give me a second. These bots, these constant bots. Always on the largest streamers on Twitch.tv. There you go. It takes me so long to ban people, too, because, like, I always forget where the button is. I've got the nicest chat on Twitch! Says the man with no chat on Twitch. Oh, that's, I don't know, that joke is hilarious to me. guy who's like super proud of his Twitch community with like average of 0 viewers. It's like, God, dude, you could make a good sketch out of that. Instead, I don't have the time to make sketches on my own. I just talk about funny things. You know, I'm an idea guy. Oh, God. How cringe, though. Anyone who says they're an idea guy, ugh. Ugh, you know, everyone's an idea guy. I don't know. You get it a lot in, like, game development, though. It's like, people who are constantly talking about all of the great ideas they have. But, you know. I mean, it just makes you sad more than anything. Like, that's the main thing that made me sad about, like, that topic of conversation I did, like, a couple streams ago? Where I was, or, God, it was, like, a few streams ago. Where I was talking about, like, game developers that either live stream or, like, make YouTube videos about their game development process. Because, like, a lot of the people who watch those are people who are genuinely interested in making games and, like, want to know how it's done. Which is why I think that those videos and streams are kind of problematic, because it's not really indicative of how games actually are done. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, it's like really easy to make games, but people always, I mean, the hardest part about making a game is actually sticking with it until completion. Because, like, there are a lot of times where you'll be like, ah, shit, my game actually sucks and this isn't worth it. And, like, maybe it does suck, but it's always going to suck for the first game you make. So, I don't know. You shouldn't really be upset about it sucking. Like, you find a lot of people in pretty much any creative medium that are like that, though. And, you know, like, someone will draw a picture and be like, ah, it's shit. You know? Why aren't I Da Vinci yet? Why can't I make a Picasso? But art's hard. Making things in general is hard. And it is going to be, like, really shit the first many handfuls of times you attempt it. Like, I'm still not satisfied with my art at all. Like, constantly, I'll have an idea just to draw something, because I just want to draw something for fun. I haven't really made the time recently just to draw things. Like, I used to do that a lot, like, on my... Like, if you look through... Or I might have deleted some of them, actually, I don't know. But if you go to my Twitter and, like, look at media and just scroll... Because there's not that many tweets. I, like, never fucking tweet. It really is, like... You could just click in middle mouse button and, like, lower your mouse by 2 inches and reach the bottom of my Twitter page in, like, half a second. But, yeah, I used to just, like, tweet little drawings I did. Because I had fun drawing. But it's been a while since I made the time to do that. I just... At this point, like, I'm so close to finishing Bounty Below. I'm like, I just want to devote any creative time towards that. Which is, I don't know. But I mean, I get creative outlets elsewhere as well. Like, I think that, like, playing a game like Dyson Sphere Program is pretty creative. I mean, others will have different things to say, but, like, I don't know. Yeah, like, Zachtronics games, and, like, programming in general, people don't really see as a creative endeavor. Unless it's doing something like making games, I guess, but... There are, like, a lot of creative solutions, and typically when you're being hired as a programmer, they're not looking, like, when you go through a programming interview process, they're not looking to see if you know how to program. They're testing you to see, like, how you handle certain solutions to problems. It's like, yeah, you know, everyone knows how to, like, how to deconstruct and reconstruct a string, right? Like, that's not particularly difficult, but they just want to see, like, how you go about doing it, and what are your methods, and, like, are you commenting is another one. But yeah, anyways, I don't know how I got off on that tangent. Yeah, I'm still, like, very frequently dissatisfied with my own art. And I'm, like, it's hard, like, especially with art, where it's so easy to compare yourself to other people. Like, in other creative mediums, I don't know, like, I guess music is pretty similar as well, right? Those are, like, the two big ones, though. Like, I don't know, I find it kind of hard to compare, like, a game to a game objectively. I mean, there are, I mean, I don't know, if you're looking at, like, just a raw-ass asset flip, you could probably be like, yeah, that game's pretty shitty, compared to this other game that it's not shitty. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but basically, like, I don't know, if someone makes a game, especially if it's, like a very small, lightweight, just kind of experimental, like, more experimental than something you would... Because, like, a lot of the experimental games are free. You don't find many paid-for experimental games. Outside of, like, I don't know, I've heard that people said... Is it called Rain World? People have said that Rain World is, like, one of the more experimental, like, games that are out there. But anyways, I don't know. Talking about experimental game design isn't all that interesting. What I'm trying to say is, like, if you look at, like, a game, you don't immediately compare it to your own game if you're a game creator. Or at least I don't. I don't know. Like, if I made a platformer, I might, like, compare certain aspects to it to, like, the end is nigh, for example. Or, like, Celeste is... I think... oh, fuck. I think Celeste, like, the actual Celeste, not Celeste Classic, or Celeste Classic, too. I think Celeste is, like... it's very close to just straight up being, like, the best platformer ever made. Like, I don't know. You probably wouldn't find too many people who disagree with that have played Celeste, but 2D platformer, at the very least, although there aren't very many good 3D platformers. What I'm trying to say here is that, like, other art forms, because, like, I don't know, you can look at games as an art form as well, but yeah, I don't know. It varies, I would say. Like, I mean, would I call the end is nigh, like, a beautiful artistic piece? I don't know. But, like, there are certain parts of Celeste that I'm like, oh, that's fucking incredible. Like, that takes the medium, like, one step further. Like, the fact that you have so many movement options that are, like, completely available right from the start of the game, but are, like, technical enough that you wouldn't think to do them until, like, the game does eventually tutorialize them to you later. But it's not like you unlocked that ability when you got the tutorial. You've always had that ability. You're just kind of, like, discovering it because the game is now teaching you. And, like, yes, Celeste Classic 2 did that as well, but not even with, like, tutorialization, just, like, the more game design-y form of tutorialization, where, due to the way the levels are designed, you are forced to figure it out for yourself through experimentation, which I always prefer, but I guess with, like, Celeste's, like, I don't know, I don't think most people would just experiment with the controls until they figured out they could, like, wave dash and get some super speed out of it. But, you know, whenever it works out that you can tutorialize something without a, you know, actual prompt on screen telling you how to do it, that's always the best. So, I don't know, is Celeste Classic 2 more artistic than Celeste? Like the Celeste HD? I don't know what to call it. Who knows? Who cares, also? But that's the point I'm making, is that it's, like, it's not super easy as, like, an art form to compare games to one another. Like, you can compare games with the same mechanics and be like, yeah, this game, like, I don't know, they had a better understanding of the mechanics and made a better game out of it. But does that mean that the worst game in that situation is, like, less artistically valuable? And also, who cares? Which is, the real point I'm trying to make, is, like, you know, who cares if your art looks like shit compared to someone else's? I mean, it's all about whether you're satisfied with it or not, and like, you know, some people will still appreciate it, I'm sure. Like, there's so much art on Twitter that I'm like, this is where I come across like an asshole, because like, you know, you'll follow artists for quote-unquote reasons, and occasionally they'll get some people who tweet at them and they're like, hey, I made fan art of your characters, and like, you know, not to be demeaning at all, but to the standards of the original artist, it's a departure, I'll say. But it's like crazy how supportive like Twitter is about that kind of thing, because like always, if you look at the comments and if you look at like the likes ratio and everything, it's just people being like super supportive of these artists who like clearly are just like starting out, right? So I don't know. I don't think there's like a real reason to be self-conscious about being shit when you're starting out. I definitely don't have the bravery to like show a lot of the shit that I draw publicly. It's like a lot of it is pure trash. But it's, I don't know, whenever I see someone like post stuff like that publicly, I'm like, god damn, the confidence on you is blowing me away. That you can look at something that you've drawn and be like so openly proud of it that that you can take that level of criticism, or potential criticism, because like I said, it's usually always like really supportive and nice on Twitter. I mean, maybe it's different in other spaces, but yeah, just like opening yourself up to that potential that there might be negative criticism is, it takes a lot to do that, and I'm still not totally there. I'm still not totally there. I worked up the courage to release Chromoblast and Bounty Below, but yeah, I'll leave my most of my shitty sketches in a secluded folder on my computer for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. But basically, what I'm saying is you shouldn't feel bad about sucking, because I suck worse than you ever possibly could. So just draw a picture, and if you feel bad about it, know that WillPending, most famous Twitch streamer on twitch.tv, would do a much worse job of it. And especially with music. Like, I have no fucking music talent at all. But, I don't jump there, buddy. Those are by far, I think, the hardest things to, like, work past that, I'm not good enough sort of feeling. I mean, I don't know. I guess I get that feeling sometimes when making games, too, but it's not because, like, I don't think I'm good enough to make a good game. It's more like I don't think I have the patience sometimes. Because, like, especially with Bounty Below, like, so many times I'm like, god damn it, why did I overcommit to this project as much as I did? I really should just, like, just fucking delete everything. Oh god, what a feeling that would give me. If I just went into the files and deleted everything related to dungeons and was just like, I'm done now. Now I can release the game. It would feel both crushing that I spent like raw work time, probably like a year alone working on the dungeons. Just deleting all that work. But see, that's why. Like, it's crushing in both directions. Like, yes, you want to be done with it, but at the same time, you don't want to feel like you've wasted so much time working on something that you have to see it through to the end. Because, goddamn, I want to work on other projects so bad. And I've got so many, you know, I'm an idea guy! Like I said, I'm an idea guy! I've got some great ideas that I want to work on. But I'm just shackled down by Bounty Below at the moment. Yeah, I guess to tie it back to idea guys. I don't know, whenever I hear that someone's an idea guy, I just kinda like internally cringe ever so slightly. Because I'm like, if you're an idea guy, then just fucking do it. Like, it's not that hard. I mean, people make, like, much more of a big deal of games than they should. But I don't know, the problem with, like, a lot of the idea guys when it comes to game creation is, like, yeah, they want to make an MMO for whatever reason. They think that's a good starting point. Like, make a 600-hour RPG because they like The Witcher. People start way too big in their minds. And, like, I don't know, that's not really... Am I crazy? This is gonna... I'm usually against gatekeeping. This is gonna sound a little gatekeepy. I don't know, I just don't get people... Oops. I did this screen horribly because I messed up that one time. Oops. Yeah, I don't know, people who are like, I've got a great idea for a game, and don't, like, don't have the time to compress how it's a good idea in, like, a 1-minute blurb. I feel like they're kind of missing the point a little bit. Like, I don't know, I mean, games mean different things to everyone. I understand that. And, like, some people only like the massive, ridiculously sprawling AAA RPGs like Bethesda games or Obsidian games or whatnot. But, I don't know. To me, how do I want to phrase this? To me, this is gonna, God. It's gonna sound gatekeeping no matter how I put it. That's not really making a game. I don't know. Because, like, a lot of those RPGs and I mean, especially, like, if you're talking about, like, really, really classic RPGs that inherit a lot of their design from, like, early D&D manuals, like, for example, and I'm not saying that, what's the name of the game? I need to, like, get to my Steam library. It's something... They made 2 of them. They're like a modern reboot of a classic series. I'm actually opening my Steam library to look it up. Games. All games, please. Show me all games. Oh, is it Divinity? Is that what I'm thinking of? I didn't even have to... I just clicked show all games and it came to mind. Divinity? Yeah, Divinity Original Sin. Okay, so I'm not saying that something like Divinity Original Sin did not have, like, you know, some really good ideas and creative changes to the format of those, like, really long classic RPG kind of games. But what I am saying is that, like, most of the idea guys who are like, I want to make a game similar to that, or, like, you know, say they want to make an RPG similar to Skyrim or something, right? A lot of times, if you ask deeper into, like, what makes their idea for a game like that interesting, they're not gonna tell you, like, anything related to game design. Like, oh, well, you know... I mean, maybe they'll say something like, well, in my game, it's got, like, a whole dual-wielding system, because I think dual-wielding is cool. And, like, sure. Oh, yeah, I forgot that's not how you're supposed to do that. Maybe you do have a really cool dual-wielding system, and maybe, maybe you could do some great work with that. But usually the idea guys like that are just like, I want to make a game like Skyrim, except, like, at least 2 times more dragons, and also there's, like, technology? Like, I don't know, maybe you can, like, modify every single limb like you can in Cyberpunk? Like, wouldn't that be cool? And, yeah, I don't know, that's not really... I think they're looking in the wrong places. I think if you actually want to make a game like that, you have better odds. You know, I don't know, I don't really like the idea of saying people should work at, like, a AAA company, because I think that that's, not a great thing to recommend when most AAA companies are not super reputable. Like, even, CD Projekt Red is kind of under some fire recently. They really put the fire under themselves. I'm not gonna say, like, you know, who could have seen this coming? It's their own fault. But anyways, yeah, AAA game companies are shit, basically. Most of them, I don't know, there might be a few good ones, but most of them are pretty shit. And don't even talk about unionizing, because they'll fire you immediately! Because there's so many people who want to make games and think that the only option to make games is via a AAA company, although less so in recent history, but you know, a lot of people still think that way. And so the massive demand for jobs in the industry is uncontrollable, and if you make a single complaint about your workplace, you get fired instantly, and there's nothing to help you out, and... Anyway, the games industry is a mess. But aside from that point, I don't know, I feel like... I guess I'm not being particularly helpful towards the issue either. And you might not even see it as an issue, but... I don't know, if your only idea for a project is, like, just a massively scoped project, like, content-wise, like, I'm not even talking about, like, it's massive in terms of, like, dedication that you're going to have to put through to finish making the game. Like, you want to make a massive game, like, 600 hours of completely unique storyline content and that kind of thing. Like, that's just not achievable by an individual. Like, I don't know, it partially is kind of to blame for these, like, AAA studios that force, like, severe crunch time and, like, overworking their employees, and it's just, like, a huge negative feedback loop, and, like, people who play those kinds of games are just like, this is the only kind of game, and, like, how can you have fun with anything that isn't 600 hours of The Witcher? But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm, like, so much more interested if I see, like, some guy who's like, I've got a great idea for a game, and instead of telling me, oh, well, it's like this 800-hour game, but, like, I mix it up a little bit, if instead they're like, okay, so it's like Frogger, except you're the cars, then I'm like, hell yeah, dude! Sign me up! This guy knows what he's talking about. It's like Frogger, except you're the cars. Like, that's an idea guy. Get that guy a fucking career. But, like, genuinely, those are, like, if you just come up with a stupid little idea like that, those are scopeable to the point that you can actually finish it in, like, a week's time, probably. Like, have a finished product that you're pretty happy with. And then, like, as you get better at making tiny little games like that, you can scale them up, which is, like, exactly what Nuclear Throne is. And even Nuclear Throne, the team was like, yeah, we wanna scale back a bit after Nuclear Throne, because Nuclear Throne was even a little bit too big for them. But, yeah, I don't know. And, you know, you can take everything I say with a grain of salt, because all I have to say to my name is Chromoblast and Bounty Below. I'm not, like, a scholar on the subject or anything, but I do have my thoughts on the subject. And what is a Twitch livestream other than an open platform to talk about your dumb little thoughts? God damn it, dude. Like, you know, I don't have the gameplay performance to make a career in competitive gaming, so all I have is my dumb little thoughts. Don't ban me for saying the word thought, Twitch. I'm sorry. Isn't it crazy? I'm sorry. Maybe thought is a banned word. But, like, I don't think that thought is a... I mean, it's an acronym for one, but anyways. I don't think that thought ever was, like, officially banned, but Twitch saw it necessary to ban, like, what was it? Simp, incel, and virgin? As, like, oh god. I don't know. I don't want to get too into it, but... seems really tone deaf to, like, especially when they came at it as, like, you know, I forget what the, I don't want to say, like, reading the official Twitch post about it, read as super tone deaf, and I forget the term they use, like, it was either sexual misconduct, or something along those lines, but, like, I don't know, if you're gonna, just feels like, like, who... I just want to see the kind of guy who thought it was a good idea. I mean, like, sure, you just don't even need to be vocal about that kind of thing, right? Like, I guess the biggest thing about the Simp Incel Virgin thing that struck me as extremely weird is the fact that, like, Yeah, like, I don't think that they have ever explicitly said, like, thought is a banned phrase in the way that they did with simp, incel, and virgin. But they don't need to, right? Because, like, in the end, the terms and conditions were basically just like, yeah, you know, these words are not, like, banned from saying at all, which is why I can talk about it right now and use those words. It's not like a bannable offense just to say the words, but, you know, when used in, like, a repetitive, like, abusive way, like, if you literally are just, like, DMing someone constantly being like, I don't know, you fucking incel virgin, I never want to see you on the platform again, yeah, you'd probably get banned for that. But, I don't know, like, am I crazy, or, like, wouldn't that have already been a bannable offense with, like, the previous terms and conditions? I guess I just don't really know why they made such a big deal of it. And maybe they didn't want to make a big deal of it, but I don't know. Just the way they went about it kind of seemed like it was inevitable that a big deal would be made of it, so just a little misstep. I mean, Twitch makes fucky-wuckies every now and then. It's okay. We all make little fucky-wuckies every now and then. It happens. It happens. But it's kind of dumb though, right? Like, it's not just me, like, it's kind of dumb though? Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. I need to make, like, I should have made, because, like, I did make smaller games that I never made public, right? And I've talked about that before. But even still, I probably should have, and Chromoblast was, like, very small in scope, too. Like, I don't want to act like Chromoblast was a large game. I think I, like, fully coded that game in, like, 3 months. And I just, like, outsourced some music and sound effects. But, yeah, like, Chromoblast was a very short project. And Bounty Below was intended to be a very short project as well. But, to reasons I've talked about endlessly, it kind of got overexpanded beyond what it should have been. But, anyways, I still, like, while I did definitely intend for Bounty Below to be short, and Chromoblast was pretty short, I should have, like, really forced myself to stick into, like, really, really small projects early on. And, like, small projects that are, like, forced scope, right? Because, like, something like a clicker game, like Bounty Below, can be scoped as big or as small as you want it to be, and unfortunately for me, I scoped it far too large. But if I had, like, yeah, if I had just told myself, god damn it, the cancer. If I had just told myself to make Frogger, except you're the cars instead of the frog, I probably would be significantly happier in my game creation career. Just make dumb little small games. And even if you're like, wow, this game is pretty shit, like, yeah, but it took you like a few weeks to make, so who cares if it's shit? Like, I mean, that's something that's always brought up to me as well, is like, especially among people in my family, they're like, you know, if you want to make money out of this whole games thing, why do you keep releasing your games for free? And I'm like, just because they're, like, not really up to my standards, and I don't think up to the market standards that really, you know, really necessitate a price tag on it. Because, like, I don't know, the way I look at it is like, yeah, you know, Chromoblast isn't the greatest game of all time, for example. I think that you could pretty much ask anybody if they thought Chromoblast was the greatest game of all time, and they'd tell you otherwise. But because it's free, there's still, like, a lot of people who played it. And, like, I cannot believe, like, it still baffles me that Chromoblast, I mean, I'll look up the exact numbers right now. Excuse me, Steam. Yeah! It still baffles me that the game is 80% positive on Steam. Like, I just can't fathom that. Because, like, I think the game is, like, truly fucking dog shit. I mean, it's, you know, people always, I mean, I've talked about this before too, but people are always like, no, you should be like really excited about the work you've done and be like, yes, everything I've made is gold, but it's not like a self-confidence issue thing at all, and I don't really think that acting like everything you've created is gold is particularly helpful either. I mean, there's definitely a case where you know, if you are going to, like, charge for money for a game, you should be proud of that by that point, and should be excited to talk about it. But, like, no. Like, I don't mind shit-talking Chroma Blast, because I made the decision to make a not very good game, which is probably problematic to begin with, but I just came up with a dumb little arcade game idea that is not really creative or interesting in any way. But I was like, I can make this as a very quick project to learn Unity, and that's all it was to me. But at that point, I had spent enough time in it that I was like, alright, I'm gonna make it public, but yeah, it's not good enough for people to pay for. Like, and the thing is, if I had charged even like $1 for it, right? Because, like, that's what my mom keeps bringing up, is like, why didn't you charge people $1 for Chroma Blast? The answer is because if I charged $1, that would go from like 80% positive to like an optimistic 50%, I imagine. And it would have, instead of like, what was it? I just looked. I think it was like 247 reviews. It would probably have something like 10 reviews. And like, it's just like, not many people would have played it if it was $1 versus if it's free and takes like 2 seconds to download. People can like look at the online leaderboards with their friends and be like, ha ha ha, I am beating you. Or if they have no friends that have played the game, they could be like, ha ha ha, I got a good score in this game. It's free, you should download it and try and beat my score. Like, that is, to me, so much more valuable that people got literally any enjoyment out of that game at all than if I made, like, I don't know, probably like $60 off of it if I had charged $1 for it. Like, that's not worth it to me. I would rather have, like, significantly more people having a good time with it, and getting to actually see the thing I made than making $60 off of it, which is, probably the easiest to understand way of explaining why I made Chroma Blast free and why I intend on making Bounty Below free as well. It's just like, it's not worth money, really. But if people have fun with it, that's worth it to me. And you know, you could have it both ways. You could have an unexpected hit that everyone loves and would have charged even $5 for it, but that's kind of why I have the, I mean, I don't know if I've talked about this on stream before, but like, Bounty Below is going to be released for free as well, but there will be a $5 five bones buy-in for a golden cursor, which is purely cosmetic. And the way I see it is, I don't really think that the game is worth charging people money for, but if people spend a lot of time playing it and have a lot of fun with it and want to give me money, they have an option to give me $5 for it. So, that's the way I see it, and I think that that's probably the better way of doing it. Not saying that, like, everyone should take this advice and do this when making games, but, I don't know, just, like, know your own standards, I guess. And if you make something that you yourself would not charge even $1 for, don't feel bad about putting it out there for free. Like, I'm still blown away that so many people enjoyed Chroma Blast. And I think it helps. Like, I think it helps both as, like, a confidence thing, and also, like, I don't know, to some degree it kind of gets your name out there. Hopefully you're making better games than Chroma Blast. I guess that's the biggest regret I have, is, like, not waiting to make my games public until I actually had, like, designs I was proud of. Because the way that, like, both Chroma Blast and Bounty Below entered this world is purely just, like, I would think of an idea and instantly put it into the game, which is not a good strategy for development. I mean, if you're just prototyping and, like, trying to see what works, then yeah, throw a lot of shit at the wall at once and see what sticks, but I was not prototyping because I kept everything I threw at the wall, including things that didn't stick. And I just kind of forced them to stick with a lot of sticky tape and thumbtacks. So Chromoblast and Bounty Below are very ugly demons of my past and present. But, no, I do have ideas that I'm pretty proud of and excited to work on in the future. I just, I hope it doesn't take me another year before I start working on them. I'm really optimistic about Bounty Below at the moment. I really do think that at the pace that things are going, like, barring disaster, I really do think I can get it out within, like, 3 or 4 months, which is pretty exciting. And I'll actually still have a lot of free time to work on something more fun afterwards. But, alright, enough philosophy about game design and game creation as a whole. I liked the chicken fried rice conversation more. But I don't have too many of those. I was just like, spur of the moment, I had chicken fried rice for dinner. That's something to talk about, I guess. I don't know how some streamers do it, though. Like, I don't know. I guess it helps if you have chat, right? Like, if you have an actual active chat to like, feed you things to talk about, it's really not that bad. But some people just endlessly go and go and go without a single bit of hesitation. That ain't me. I have to, like, actually think before I think I've come up with a decent bit of conversation. Like, in my head, I keep thinking about talk about the toothpaste. Talk about the toothpaste, Will. But, like, every single time I think about actually bringing it into reality, I'm like, this is the most boring conversation you could ever try and spark up. But here I go. Since I mentioned it, I'll talk about the toothpaste. The only way I can make it slightly entertaining is if I go a little bit like boomer comedian at it. So here I go. Isn't it fucked up? All right, I was looking at my toothpaste the other night, and I thought it was real fucked up. That if you look at the back of, I think it's Crest. If you look at the back of Crest toothpaste, they have a warning or a tip of advice that's like, I'm gonna stop that voice because it hurts my throat. They have a tip of advice that's like, for best use, squeeze from the bottom, going towards the top of the tube. And it's really not what I'm talking about at all. But, like, it struck me as extremely humorous, like, it's like when you die in a video game, and you get, like, a little loading tip that's like, for best advice in Dark Souls, consider pressing the R1 button to do an attack to the enemy. It's just like, who is that helpful for, you know? Like, who just has, like, such an extreme lack of a grasp of reality that they couldn't piece together maybe squeezing from the bottom of the tube to the top would most effectively get all of the toothpaste out of the tube. Like, you just kind of, you get that by yourself, right? Like, you don't need to be told how a tube of toothpaste operates. I mean, maybe when you're, like, 4, I don't know when people start brushing their teeth, 5 years old? When do you even have teeth? I think you have teeth when you're 1? When do babies, google.com, when do babies get teeth? Anyways, that's weird. I never thought about that. Here, I got to an actual interesting bit of conversation. Fuck the tube of toothpaste thing. That was just something I briefly thought was humorous in the moment, but actually isn't worth talking about at all. Do babies brush their teeth? I know they don't brush their teeth themselves, right? But, like... Alright, because, okay, this is... I know that there are some extreme pet owners that are, like, super, super cautious about their pet's health and all that, and I'm not saying, like, you shouldn't be cautious about your pet's health, but I am not concerned about my cat's health to the point that I am going to brush its teeth with, like, a little cat toothbrush every night. I do, like, we went to the vet, and the vet were, like, when we first got him, because, like I've mentioned in the past, he was a stray. He did have, like, some pretty bad gingivitis, little cat gingivitis, when he was a baby, from his time being a stray cat. not eating the best of foods, I imagine. So yeah, they gave us, like, a pet food that is, like, just, like, extra crunchy and fibrous, so that it kind of, like, you know, brushes the cat's teeth as it's eating it. But I'm not gonna get a little cat toothbrush and, you know, it's probably, like, torture for the cat. I mean, I know, yeah, like, is it best for their health? Probably, but the cat doesn't really know what's going on. I mean, maybe they'll like it. I don't know. I've never seen a cat getting its teeth brushed. But what I'm trying to say here is that, like, how long can teeth go ignored before they have problems? For cats, it seems to be... I mean, I do know that, like, it's fairly common for cats' teeth to fall out, but, like, they get, like, hardened gums. Like, their gums harden a little bit after their teeth fall out so that they can still, like, crunch through things. Like, they're not going to be tearing into raw flesh like a cat should be in the wild, but they can eat, like, you know, wet food and probably dry food as well without too much issue, even if their teeth fall out. But you probably don't want your cat's teeth to fall out either. If your cat's teeth are falling out and it's because of, like, gingivitis or something, just get some of that pet food that I got. I don't know the brand of it, but if you just Google, like, cat food that is good for my cat's teeth, you'll probably find some. But back to babies. Like, I guess it doesn't really matter for baby teeth, though, right? Because, like, those sons of bitches just fall out after a while, so who cares? Like, I fell down as, like, a 6 or 7-year-old in either preschool or elementary school. I don't know which one you go to when. Like I said, I'm not the best with dates and times, but I think it was actually preschool. I, like, took a really bad tumble, as a child is wont to do, and slammed, like, one of my front teeth into, like, the metal infrastructure of a desk, you know? I slammed it into the desk, basically. And it, like, shattered the tooth. There was still some of the tooth left, but it was, like, cracked, and after a few days, the tooth turned black, because it was just, like, completely dead. And we went to the dentist about it, and the dentist were like, oh yeah, that tooth's fucked. Like, does it hurt at all? And I was like, nah, like, I can't feel it at all. And the dentist was like, alright, yeah, it's like the nerve inside of the tooth is completely dead if you can't feel anything. So don't worry about it. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. I mean, I didn't know what was going on because I was like a little baby. But, yeah, apparently it's, like, totally cool if your teeth get fucked up as a little kid, because as soon as your adult teeth grow in, I mean, so long as you're not, like, fucking up your entire, like, jawline of teeth, you're probably a-okay for when the new ones grow in. But, yeah, I have, like, a really bad memory of that tooth actually falling out, because, like, I mean, trigger warning for people who don't like talking about teeth. Maybe I should have said that at the start when I talked about smashing it into a desk, but, when that tooth fell out, it was actually, like, really awful, because I couldn't feel the tooth at all, right? Like, the tooth was completely dead. It was, like, the equivalent of a piece of hair to me. Like, there was no feeling in it at all. So I had no idea when that tooth was about to come out, and, I just remember eating something and having, like, really hard bits in my food while I was eating it, and being like, oh no, what did I eat? Like, this isn't normal. Like, being a particularly picky eater as a kid, if I, like, had something I didn't like in my mouth, I would just spit it out. So I, like, ran to spit out whatever was in my mouth in the sink, and yeah, it was, like, mostly tooth. Just a very unpleasant feeling. And there were still, like, some shards of tooth stuck in, like, the, I don't know, not, like, the root, but, like, it shattered, right? Like, it was a shattered tooth. So, like, bits and pieces of it just kind of crumbled out when it was ready to go. But there were still a few shards left in there that, inevitably had to be pulled. But anyways, yeah, that's my tooth story. What I'm trying to say here, back to babies, the, like, parents brush their babies' teeth? I imagine not, right? Because, like, first off, like, what are they eating that's gonna be bad for their teeth? I mean, did the parents give their babies candy? They probably shouldn't. I mean, I'm talking about, like, past the point where they're done breastfeeding or off formula, right? But, like, I don't know. Like, who cares, right? Is that wild to say? Like, is it okay if... I mean, maybe if it got, like, severely infected or something, yeah, like, that could kill the baby. But, I don't know, does baby tooth care actually matter that much? It's just something I never thought about. As someone who never intends on having a child in his life in the first place, I don't find myself idly thinking about baby dentistry. But yeah, I don't know, that's just like another insanely funny thing to think about, is a parent, like, cradling their child while they brush their little baby teeth. They're like 2 or 3 little baby teeth that are just popping out. Oh man. I would imagine the answer is no, though, right? The answer is just you don't care about baby teeth, because they fall out anyways. I would have to guess, like, when do baby teeth even fall out? It's around, like, 5, 6, or 7, I think. I don't know. I don't have the most vivid memories of that era of my life. Like, the few memories I have, I hate. Which I guess makes sense, right? Like, the more traumatic and upsetting memories are probably the ones that are gonna stick with you. Like, that one tooth experience with the black tooth coming out. Hate that. A lot of memories of me eating fucking gravel. Like, what a disgusting child. Like, if I saw that child today, if I just walked along the street and I saw a kid pick up, like, a handful of gravel and start chewing on it, I would be disgusted. But that was me. That was me as a kid. I was the gravel eater. But I mean, I've seen... I mean, maybe I'm outing myself as, like, the biggest freak on the internet. But I think that that's not that unusual for, like, teething kids to just, like, bite rocks. It sounds fucking filthy because it is. Like, I seriously can't imagine the brain process that I was going through. That I was like, I'm going to scoop this gravel up off the dirt and start crunching. But that's what I did. That's what I did. It's such a foreign experience thinking about yourself in the past like that, especially like the very, very distant past, where you are very much not the same person. I mean, hopefully you're not the same person that you were... Oops, I'm dead. Hopefully you're not the same person that you were even like 3 or 4 years ago, like a relatively small time scale. You can probably look back at yourself and be like, oh, I did some dumb shit like 3 or 4 years ago. But I think that's like that's a helpful part of the body. I don't know. Some people, I mean, it can be unhealthy, right? Like, it definitely can be unhealthy to reminisce about every single mistake you've made in your life. I definitely do it a little bit too much. Like, I'm not the most anxious person. I used to be a lot more anxious. But it still happens. I mean, honestly, more often than not, when I'm having trouble sleeping, I'm just thinking about, like, the dumbest shit. Like, the absolute dumbest shit, like, what I'm going to do in the Dyson Sphere program the next time I boot it up. I'm thinking about how horribly I did fuck up the math with the oil. But, no. Yeah, I mean, it used to be pretty bad with me that I would think about, stupid things I did in the past to get, like, overly embarrassed and feel bad about it, but I don't know. I think it's helpful in moderation. No, like, obviously you don't want to have endless nights back to back to back where you're thinking about how dumb you are, but to some degree, especially in, like, the more distant past, and especially if you can have a sense of humor about it and laugh at yourself and be like, wow, dude. Why the fuck was I eating gravel? What a fucking dumbass. It's like the equivalent of the fucking caricature of kids eating paste. Which, thankfully, I never did eat paste. But I definitely knew a kid in preschool was a renowned paste eater. Which I don't understand, like, it doesn't even taste good. What are you doing? Anyways. Also knew a lot of kids who ate Play-Doh. Thankfully, I mean, I think by that point, Play-Doh was safely non-toxic. But I don't know, it was, like, around 20 years ago. You would hope that Play-Doh had it under control, knowing that kids are going to eat it by that point. But anyways, I'm sure they're fine. A little bit of toxic Play-Doh never hurt anyone, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think to some degree, it's it can make you feel better about yourself in the now, if you think about stupid shit you did in the past. But you definitely have to have the right attitude about it, and not everyone has the same level of thinking when it comes to that, I guess. But, I mean, you know, some people also can't really help it either, which you have to sympathize with and understand. But yeah, to some degree, it can be nice to think of yourself as a dumbass in the past. Because, like, it is, I don't know, it's weird. Like, all of the memories of me in the past, I'm like, I was not even close to the same person. Like, it freaks me out even thinking about myself in high school. I'm just like, cringe, dude. But I think everyone has that. Or, I hope everyone has that. If people look back at high school as, like, the height of their life, or college, I mean, I never went to college, so I can't relate, but if people look at college and are like, yep, that's the peak, I'm never gonna match that. I was at my best when I was, like, 10 drinks in on a college night. No, I find little sympathy for that kind of person. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying you can't have, like, happy memories of your stupid college days, but at the same time, maybe, with a little bit of, wow, I was a dumbass. Just throw a little bit in there. Hopefully. Hopefully you can, you can say that you're a better person since then. But, I don't know. I guess it depends on what you look for in a quote-unquote good person, right? If a quote-unquote good person is how many beers you can down without throwing up, then yeah, maybe the college days were the peak. I just look for different things, I guess. I think I'll truly reach my peak when I can, without second-guessing myself, immediately come with the proper ratio of oil refineries to oil pumps in Factorio and Dyson Sphere program. That's my peak, dude. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Maybe my peak is when I stop laughing about dumb shit like the toothpaste tube telling me how to push paste out of it. Maybe then I'll reach my peak. But it's also kind of sad, like, I don't know. It's kind of sad when you get into the, especially like the terminology of peak. Because like a lot of people do use that and are like, oh, I've already peaked. But I don't know. People just get down on themselves. And I mean, you know, for one reason or another. But I don't understand, like, especially people who are like a little bit older being like, well, I could never get into this because it's too late in my life. Like, I don't know. Like, even at 50. Like, people look at 50, even though 50 is not a very accurate description of middle age. I think most people are probably at their actual middle age at around 40. I mean, at least with current trends in America. But yeah, I don't know. Like, people will be out here saying, like, I'm halfway done with my life, and then also say, I don't have enough time to do anything. I mean, to some degree, yeah, you're probably not going to be a professional football player at 50. It's safe to say that you've missed your window on that one. but that doesn't mean you can't still have fun with it, and especially, like, more active hobbies like that are probably better if you're in that age in your life. But things like making games, and I always bring up making games, because that's the thing I have personal ties to, and personal experience with. It's like, there's no age limit on making a game. And, like, I mean, some people will be like, I'm too young to make a game. It happens. Like, if you're in high school or even in middle school and you have, like, interest in programming, or even if you're in, like, a school that gives programming lessons, because more schools are doing that, you could make a game. Like, there's nothing stopping you. I mean, even if you have to use a tool like Scratch. Sorry. I'm just cracking up. Because I don't know how relatable Scratch is. But am I saying it? Is it actually Scratch? Let me look at it. I think this is it. Yes, dude! Yes! Even if you have to use something like Scratch, and I recommend anybody who's not familiar with Scratch game development look it up immediately because it's hilarious. But, no, I don't know. Still, if you made something that was kind of cool out of Scratch, like, honestly, more props to you. Because, like, it's a fucking mess of software. But, yeah, probably start with something like Game Maker would be a real suggestion that also has, like, drag-and-drop programming tools. You could fucking do it, dude. Shoot for the moon. Shoot for the moon, and if you miss, at least you'll land amongst the stars. It's kind of like a really fucking sad, really sad phrase. I don't know, maybe it's not, I mean, it's probably not meant to be sad, because, like, yeah, you're still making a permanent mark on the world, I guess, is what the meaning of that statement is, but it just strikes me as incredibly sad, thinking about your game idea not hitting the moon, but instead just flailing endlessly in the vacuum of space amongst the stars. Tragic. Truly tragic. I have memories of Scratch. Because, like, I don't know, I was also one of the gamers interested in making games that didn't think he could do it at, like, middle school, when you definitely can. Like, programming, and especially the programming required to make a game, especially in, like, a heavily scripting-focused game engine, like Unity and Game Maker are, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. And you could get started a lot sooner than a lot of people think. And yes, I do in this case recommend looking at, like, but I would less so look for, like, the really clickbaity YouTube game development videos that are like, the one trick that I mean, I keep going back to fix my combat because of that one specific video sticking in my brain, but this one trick to make the most legendary platformer of all time. Probably don't click on a video like that, but if you just look at, like, beginner platformer tutorial Game Maker, you'll probably find something pretty helpful that'll give you, like, a real start to making games. And, like, an earlier start is, you know, the earlier you start, the better, basically. Like, the sooner you start making shitty games, and it's easier to take it on the chin when you're young, because, like, I guess that's a big part of what demotivates people, when they're like, well, my game is shit, I'm never gonna make a good game because my game is shit, is, like, usually people that are, like, I don't know, either my age or older. Like, if you're in your 30s and you're just getting into game development, like, you still shouldn't be ashamed for, like, making something that's not up to your standards, but I can see how it's a lot easier to compare yourself when you see people who are younger than you have, like, a much better head start. But, like I said, if you are young and interested in making games, like, The earlier you can get started, the better. Because I feel like it is a lot easier to take that, I mean, not criticism, necessarily, but, like, I guess self-criticism. Like, it's easier to look at, like, a shit product and be like, well, at least I'm, like, a 15-year-old that made a game. Like, not many people can say that, even though it's a really shitty game. Like, you know, at least I can say that I did something kind of cool. And if you keep going from there, you'll make better games, and maybe you'll be in Forbes 20 under 20. Or is it 30 under 30? Who cares? Anyways, I don't even know if it's Forbes. I'm not knowledgeable enough to make that joke properly. But, yeah, let's talk about Scratch. Because I was definitely one of those middle schoolers that wanted to make games, but did not think that I could at that point in my life, which was very dumb. You definitely can. But anyways, yeah, so like, my mom was obviously, you know, interested in helping me along my hobbies, and, you know, maybe it could turn into a career. Still not decided on that one, honestly. Still not decided on if it's career viable for me yet. But, point is, she was trying to help out. So, she did her own research and came up with Scratch, which is a, I mean, it's targeted for kids, which everyone knows things specifically targeted for kids are usually premium quality. So yeah, I don't know. Like, all of the programming elements, you could not do any, at least when I did it, you could not do any manually scripting. Like, all of the scripting elements were drag and drop. They had to be drag and drop. And, like, they were, like, puzzle pieces that you slot into each other. It was, like, the ugliest looking thing. Okay, so here, it's kind of like the way that, I forget the name of it. It's not Tiny Build. The Little Inferno and the fucking... I know that one of their games is just called, like, a fucking billion people or something. I'll look it up after I finish the screen. Or wait. Yeah, okay, I'll do it now. What is that fucking developer? Little Inferno. Yeah, here we go. Tomorrow Corporation, there you go. 7 billion humans and human resource machine. It's very similar programmatically, like drag and drop style, the way that those two games handled it, but instead of very simple assembly, where you're not going to get lost in the drag and drop format, it tried to do much more complicated things, like object creation, for loops, if statements. So like, when you're programming in it, it got really messy really fast, basically. I mean, I guess an if statement is not too dissimilar to just like a jump statement in an assembly language. But anyways, point is, oh dude, look at this, hyper crouching. Anyways, yeah, it's ugly. It's ugly as shit, and I think that Scratch, I mean, no offense if you actually made something cool with Scratch and, like, are proud of something, and Scratch was, like, how you got started in game creation. I mean, technically, I guess it was for me as well. But no, Scratch was, like, so ugly and awful to work in that, I found that it, like, actively went in the opposite direction towards helping me feel like I'm closer to creating games. Like, if I had just started with something like Game Maker instead, which I did, I had, like, very, very limited experience in Game Maker that I think I talked about before. But, if I had done that even earlier, like before I tried out Scratch, I probably would have had a significantly better time with things, and probably would have stuck around with Game Maker a little bit longer. Though, I don't know. Also, when I first tried Game Maker, it was like much, much earlier and less polished than, like, modern Game Maker. Is super nice, I've heard. I haven't looked at it myself, but I've heard that modern Game Maker is, like, really easy to develop in. Like, really easy to get things going and, like, prototype in, similar to what people say about Unity. But, it was a little bit clunky, especially when you're, like, a kid trying to use the drag and drop stuff. I don't know, I just feel like, I mean, drag and drop can be helpful, and I know that some people really like that style of programming. I mean, maybe really like it is not the best way to put it, but some people use it professionally. Like, I think that, what's that one guy? The guy that, was one of the members of the Stanley Parable and went on to make, the Beginner or something? I forget the name of the game. But I think that that game is entirely programmed using drag and drop tools. I think the developer said something similar to that. Or at least mostly programmed, I don't know. But, yeah, hate that. Now I know if you fall there, you can recover, but I didn't mean to fall, obviously. Like, I mean, if you really do think that you don't have a mind for programming, which is not a real thing at all, like, anyone can program, and it's not that hard. Which, I don't know, people take offense to that, and are like, you only say it's not that hard because you already know how to do it, but, like, really? I don't know. People need to know way less than they think they do to program, and especially if you're just programming games. Like, games are not really that programming heavy. I mean, it depends on what game you're making, I guess, but if you just want to make, like, a simple project like Frogger, except you're the cars instead of the frog, and you're using, like, a scripting-focused engine like Unity or GameMaker, you really don't need to know that much about programming. But, that point aside, yeah, I don't know. If you really are just turned off by the idea of programming entirely, like, you can still make some games with drag and drop tools, apparently. But, I've always found it, like, very, very clunky, I guess. And I don't know. For me, it's so much easier. I mean, yes, especially now, when I already know how to program, obviously it's easier to just script something than it is to use drag and drop, but even when I didn't really know that much about scripting or programming at all, I still found it, like, faster and more convenient than using drag and drop stuff. That's just me, maybe. Maybe just me. Who knows? Alright, how long have I been doing this? An hour, 46 minutes? Disgusting. I'm gonna wrap it up after this attempt. Especially early on, I had, like, a few back-to-back attempts that made it to the last area, but I don't know. Similar to Cetera Geography, I feel like the longer I focus on the same thing, I do end up regressing past the first, like, hour. It's where my peak gaming happens. I get 1 hour of peak gaming and then I fall apart. I'm becoming too old for this, as they say. Which, like, I don't know. I hate people who say that, too. Like, that one bugs me a lot, because, like, you'll see a lot of people who are like, like, I can't do this game because, like, my reflexes aren't what they used to be. Like, god damn it, dude, what? Like, it's like the biggest Johns to me. I don't talk about Johns too often, but talking about how you're too old and, like, your reflex... Okay, that is not the last attempt. I wanted to make it to the fish. Talking about how you're too old and your reflexes are, like, worn out. You'll never be the same gamer you were. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's no scientific study to back it up, at the very least. Like, people say it a lot, and I don't know, I guess to some degree, like, maybe I was a better gamer when I was, a little bit younger, reflex-wise, but, like, how would I even know? Like, unless you are someone who, like, started competitive gaming as, like, a very young child, and can actually see that regression in your age despite putting in the same amount of, like, time and effort. I don't think that anyone can really say that they're doing badly because of their reflexes or something. It always bugs me. I mean, maybe I'm just paranoid. Maybe I just don't want to believe that in, like, 10 years or so, maybe if I tried something like this again, I just wouldn't be able to do it. But I don't think that's the case. I really, truly don't. I think that people give too much credit to reflexes. I mean, I don't know, and like, also, do your reflexes really go down that much from, like, age 20 to age 40? I don't think so. Maybe slightly. Like, yeah, I would maybe get the point a little bit more if, you know, it was like someone in their 80s being like, I don't have the reflexes that I used to. But it's usually not people in their 80s. It's usually just people who are like fucking 30 and are like, oh yeah, I'm washed up. My reflexes don't allow me to play games like this anymore. I don't believe that. Maybe I will when I'm 30. Or at the very least, I can definitely see it being a very easy excuse for why you're doing so bad. Because that's, you don't have to take any personal blame for that. I mean, who could blame you? It's just his reflexes, man. It's just his reflexes. No one, you'd have to be a real asshole to blame someone for doing bad at Fortnite because of their reflexes. Come on, dude. But I mean, that's kind of how I feel when I see like a 30-year-old or even a 40-year-old gamer complain about their reflexes. I'm just like, nah. Nah. That's the same thing as me complaining about my controller all the time. That's why I try and stick with keyboard. Because it's hard to blame your controller when you're using keyboard. Especially when you have an input display. Oh, man. Instead, I'll just blame lag, dude. Lag. It's always the lag. That's why I haven't gotten a world record in Minecraft yet. It's just the lag. Not joking, though. Alright, fine. I'm joking. Dude, I just want to just make it to the fish. It's not that hard. But this has been fun. You know? I do feel a little bit bad for not streaming on Saturday, but I still, I don't know. Even if I only did Monday through Friday, that's enough consistency for me, streaming-wise. I don't have any problems with that schedule. And as I always say, like, there is a one luxury for the lack of viewership that I have at the moment, is, like, I'm not really held accountable for anything. Like, even if I just dropped off the face of the earth for a week, I don't know. Maybe some people would be upset. I did get called out, like, I never talked about that, but Jen, since she was here earlier, Jen did call me out. It was like, did you stop streaming? Because I was gone for a week. But, no. I don't know. I don't think there's that many people who even notice my absence. And I say it, like, I don't know, slightly tongue-in-cheek. Like, I find the humor in it. But I always have to say that when I talk about something that the longer you think about it, the sadder it gets. Because I really am not sad about the state of my Twitch career at all. So long as I get out here and I make a few funny jokes, or make myself laugh even, I'm like, alright, that was worth it. And laugh at how dumb I am for wanting to talk about toothpaste. Baby teeth. There's a whole market there that's undiscovered, though. People would eat that shit up. Like, people would buy it. I'm telling you. If they made, like, little baby teeth brush and, like, little baby toothpaste, god damn it, dude. Just make it to the fish. People would buy them. People would absolutely buy them. Because, like I said, there's people who are buying toothbrushes and toothpaste for their cats. I would 100% believe it. You know, there probably is already a market for that. I wouldn't be too surprised if I, like, looked up you know, baby toothbrush and baby toothpaste, I probably would find products already. I really shouldn't be surprised by that kind of thing. Though I find myself often surprised for some reason. It's like a lot of dumbass products that I don't understand their reasoning for existing. And like sometimes I'll see a product that some people will probably say, I don't see a point for that existing, that I have. Like I got, what is it? I forget the name of the brand. It's like a water pick, there you go. I got a water flossing kit. Because like I really fucking hate flossing. I don't know, I got like sensitive gums or something, but I mean, okay, here's the biggest thing, alright? I don't get how people do it, alright? I'm gonna be honest about it. I was gonna say I got sensitive gums, but no, here's the reality of the situation. I don't get how people floss with just like the string floss. Am I fucking crazy? I probably am crazy. Like, I see people do it, and they like wrap it around their fingers until they get like a firm grip, and then they start going at it. But whenever I try and floss with just, like, dental floss, and not those little, like, you know, plastic thingies, like they got a plastic handle with floss in between them, which is probably horrible for the environment. Sorry, environment. But I just don't know how to floss, dude. I think I'm brain dead. Because, like, whenever I try and do it, it's just like I got my fucking hand in my mouth, and it just doesn't feel right. Like, how do you get your, like, the back of your jaw? How do you get your back molars if you're flossing that way? I don't understand. I need a Google tutorial for how to fucking floss in 2021. Oh, man. But, yeah, anyways. I get those, like, one-time use little floss handlebar thingies. I don't know, little floss plastic pick things. But obviously it's like a shit ton of plastic waste, and also like, I mean, it's not super expensive, but you know, if I could cut out a constant expense in my life, that would probably be for the best. So I bought into the water pick, because I had heard good things about it, but I guess I just don't know how to use that either, because the next time I went to the dentist after using the water pick for like, you know, months, the dentist was still like, ah, shit, your teeth are all fucked, why aren't you flossing? And I'm like, dude, water pick, come on, bro, you're supposed to carry me through this. But I'm probably just using it wrong. I should try it again, but I've buckled down into just using the, consumable one-time use pick things again. Mostly because, like, especially now, when I don't feel very comfortable going to the dentist, with COVID still completely being out of control in America, and more specifically Texas. Yeah, I don't really want to go to the dentist anytime soon. So, being, like, extra cautious about my teeth care. Because I know, like, no matter how good I am about it, I know that when I go back to the dentist, they're gonna be like, ah, shit, dude. Your mouth is all sorts of fucked up. So I thought that now was probably not the good idea, or the best time to keep experimenting with the water pick. But I might try it again at some point in the future. Alright, I got to the fish, whatever. God damn it, dude. I just can't. I can't play this game. Can't play this game, dude. I'll beat it at some point. Like, it basically... this game right now is basically my banter engine portion of the stream. Hello? I told you to quit. Why aren't you responding?